Hi, this is Michael Stein. Welcome to Encounters with the Soul. This next series is about what it means to be an empath, and I'm eager to have a conversation about that. Please comment below with regards to your contribution to the topic. There are 11 different types of empaths, and I'm interested in talking about many of those because I exhibit some of those traits, and some of them I would consider myself a hyper empath, and others I don't exhibit at all. And I'm interested in having that self-awareness conversation about what it means to be an empath and what kind of empath are you. I'm interested in knowing who you are, and if you're new to this, I'm interested in knowing who you want to become in your power as an empath. So I'd like to start and introduce the different types. The first type is the emotional empath. And that's one that I'm really hypersensitive in. I'm really good at taking emotions away from other people or taking them on as my own. Not to say that I take their emotions away, but I tend to know how to tap into, I know how to tap in and listen. And people just, the floodgates open and know how to talk about what's going on with them. I'm just a magnet to draw that out. And that's not uncommon with emotional empaths. I find myself often very confused about where my own emotions begin and where they end when that happens. And it's become a lifelong pattern of mine as well. And I find myself getting really moody sometimes and not knowing why. Why is it I'm feeling in a particular way when I wasn't feeling that way before? So sometimes I have to step away from a group of people or distance myself a little bit from a conversation just for a few moments and then ask myself a question. Is this mine? Is this emotion I'm feeling mine? Or is it something I'm just feeling from someone else? And as long as I'm centered, I can trust my intuition, and it's usually pretty quick, the response I get, whether it is actually mine or it is not. And boy, is that a helpful practice if I'm centered enough to know that I should do that, because I can. I don't like big spaces at all. So I usually avoid them in many circumstances because it's just too much noise, too much emotion all at once. It's very overwhelming, not a comfortable place to be. The second type of empath is a physical empath, and that's very similar to the emotional, except you can experience the physical sensations that other people are feeling. And that can be positive and it can be negative. It could be, nurses, caregivers in general, are generally very natural with this gift. And some less so than others, but that broken arm or that sprained ankle, whatever the case may be, it's not uncommon to be able to experience that not just the emotion, but also the physical sensation of what that person is experiencing. The third type is animal communication, and animals are the strongest, and I believe, one of the best empaths on the planet. They are the best barometers for whether a person exhibits fear or not, or if there's something going on with the person. They know. Very good at trusting animals, I am, when it comes to people, and even situations in their environment. Animals do communicate differently, and it's not obviously through vocal chords or purring or barking, but through pictures. They're visual, and you've heard of animal whispers that have a gift of communicating with them, and that is something that I carry, and many other people on the planet carry to a certain extent. And it's very, very important to understand that animals may not be people, but they're sentient beings just like we are. And that brings us to our fourth type, which is called nature. And nature is the ability to communicate with plants and the nature around them. Trees. These are people that walk in a forest and immediately be connected to their surroundings and feel recharged, refueled. It's where they find their center and their abilities to communicate with a garden, if you will, and co-create with it as well. It's very valuable, very important to have, and many people have that gift. A lot of gardeners have that gift, being a nature empath. The fifth type is similar. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I believe it's called a geomancy empath. Geomancy, I think. That is also tied to the land, our earth. Connection to the earth, very powerful. They might know where the ley lands are. They might be aware of land that might have been sacred. Generally speaking, these type of empaths might even have a tremendous amount of anxiety or even physical pain or headaches when it comes to massive land shifts like earthquakes or disasters, or a master plan community where they are literally ripping trees out of the ground in an effort to develop the property. Very painful, very connected to the land, and that's a type of empath that I see. Another type is called precognition. Precognition is really just the ability to foresee something is going to happen. And it can drive a person mad because oftentimes precognitives don't understand what's going to happen. They just know something's going to. So it can be filled with a tremendous amount of dread at times. And sometimes a precognitive will actually be able to sense more into what it is that is going to happen. But oftentimes that's a lot more rare. And then along with precognitive is this different type of empath called the knowing empath. And the knowing empath is different in that there could be an absolute crisis or disaster among them, and yet there is a peace and calm about the person. No thinking involved, nothing up here, just heart, knowing what to do next for the benefit of themselves and the people around them. And they will do it with that peace and harmony, just absolute calmness, even though crisis and chaos is among around them. There's just a knowing of what to do. There's some really powerful stories about this that we might get into in another video session dialogue. There are 3 other types that I haven't got into. One is telepathy, and that's just to be able to read thoughts from people. That's very common, just to a certain extent. You probably read about that. But the 2 other types that you probably read less about or know less about are called psychometry, which is more a person that has the ability to touch an item or be in a space and have an impression, an actual impression of the history of that item or the space of that room. It's almost like energy hygiene in a sense. Like there's an energy or a vibration left with that item that can be interpreted or translated by an individual. And they can see the history of what that item went through or what the experience of that room was and the people in it. I have that, and it scares me sometimes because there are some things that I just do not want to see at all. And there are other times where there's a lot of joy in it, and I find it to be very inconsistent. I don't exhibit this all the time, and I'm not sure why, and it's something that I'd like to develop more of. The last type, and the one that I understand the least, is called Technopathy. And Technopathy is the ability for people to find solutions when it comes to technology, but not in the way that normal people would. Think about a person, visualize a person that literally, it's a washing machine. The washing machine just isn't been working and nobody can fix it. And this Technopathy empath can walk up there, put his hands on these machines, tinker with it for a little bit, and in no time come up with an absolute creative answer on how to fix it that might be outside the box, or it might not be. They diagnose and they fix it, and they just do exactly what to do. Or it may be the software program that you're trying to fix. They're machine whisperers. They just know. There's something about the energy of the machine or a way of them communicating with what it is that has to happen next to get it resolved. I know a guy, I'm putting him in this category. His name is Nortano. I think he's brilliant. He's amazing. He may not see himself as that, but I do. And it's hard for me to know because I'm not a technopath. But I think it's remarkable. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of other types of empaths out there. This is all a learning, a dance, and I'm eager to hear from all of you. If you would please comment if there's something that I may have missed that you possess, because that is really what this is all about. One of the questions wasn't just what kind of empath are you, but it was why is it important to have empathy in the world? I mean, there's a lot of questions around empathy that I think are important. And I just want to take a moment to answer that question, and then we'll conclude. And I think that the empathetic qualities that people possess are in everybody. Everybody has it, and it can be developed, and it's crucial in an effort for us to thrive as a society. and it facilitates the ability for us to have compassion in the world so that we can do that, whether it be a life partner or relationship, a business, community that we're engaged in. There is no ability to have compassion and have understanding without empathy. Empathy is much greater than just compassion and understanding, and it's extremely powerful. And I found value with the skills inventory of the people that I have around me that I keep close, on what kind of people they are and what skills they possess and what kind of empath they are, because there's much for me to learn. Thank you for joining the conversation. Please don't forget to like this post and make sure to comment below. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for joining Encounters with the Soul.